Because I think that's the key for any man. It's simply to take what you've been given, to take the cards that you've been dealt and play them to the best of your ability. Yeah, some guys do just have it easier than others. No one's debating that. Some guys do just win the genetic lottery at birth. Some guys just get dealt the straight flush. But say you get dealt a pair of fives, rather than looking at the guy next to you who's got the straight flush and being like, oh, that guy's got it so easy. Focus on the hand you've been given, play the cards you've been dealt to the best of your ability, and you'll probably have a better time and be more successful in the game in the long term because you've had to struggle in order to succeed. All right, nice one. I'm excited about this one. I'm joined today by a really inspiring guy. So I'm with Michael. Now, Michael completed a 3-day boot camp with me not too long ago. And over the course of the 3 days, we got to know each other quite well. And he shared his stories. And essentially, this podcast is going to be covering a lot of provocative but practical topics. So we're going to be talking about the black pill. We're going to be talking about women. We're going to talk about how you can skyrocket your success in the sexual marketplace, even if you think it's like game over for you. So that's where like the black pill side of things is coming in. And I really want this podcast to provide guys who are listening to this with practical, actionable things that they can actually do to reinvent themselves. I don't want to get bogged down in like esoteric debates. I want to talk about things that any guy listening to this can do right now to start improving his life. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover. Michael, introduce yourself to the people.
Hiya. Well, yeah, my name is Michael. I think you can tell from the accent I'm Scottish. Done a boot camp with Kristian, and yeah, it was one of the it was honestly surreal. One of the best weekends I've ever had in my life. Yeah, it was really exciting, and he invited me for a bit of a conversation, talking about my experiences, what I kind of believe in, and my kind of overall journey, which I'm kind of quite excited to talk about.
So yeah, just tell us about that, because I know you have got a very interesting backstory before you decided to take the boot camp with me. So can you just share a little bit more about your story prior to the boot camp?
Okay. Where to start? I think if we kind of rewind before COVID happened, that everyone obviously kind of experienced. I was at a state where, how can I say it? Put it bluntly, physically, I just wasn't there. I was just ugly. In physical terms, I was kind of out of shape. The gyms were closed. Coming out of university, kind of being locked inside, didn't really have any socializing experiences. A bunch of other things, like, for example, just one specific example would be my skin was really bad. So, physically I wasn't okay, and internally I wasn't okay. And during COVID kind of lockdown, I kind of had this kind of a reawakening, I guess you could say. So, I started it down this kind of black pill journey. I think everyone's kind of heard about now these Wheat Waffles and all that stuff. And during that time, I'd honestly say the black pill has kind of changed my life for the positive, right? I mean, I'm black pill who done a boot camp, right? It's very interesting. You don't really hear about it quite a lot. And I'd say how it connects to the boot camp is the black pill kind of gave me the drive to improve myself. It, in my opinion, revealed kind of what I see as reality, and kind of mirrored my kind of life experiences on how people kind of judge you on your looks, and how looks play quite an important part in dating. So I think we're going to talk about that quite a bit in the interview, regarding specifically what I did to improve my looks and what are kind of my kind of black pill beliefs, and what I agree, what I disagree with it, and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. Obviously, you mentioned the black pill quite a lot, and you're using the black pill as a vehicle to reinvent yourself, in essence.
Yeah,
And I think that is the blueprint for any man. It's to mix realism with reinvention. And the reason I really wanted to do this podcast, I think it's very easy for people to just dismiss the black pill as being defeatist. And certainly I think it can be for a lot of men. But I think what the black pill enables guys to do is view life through a realistic lens rather than through rose tinted glasses. I think any man should strive to look and feel as good as he can look, because anyone who says that looks don't matter in the sexual marketplace is horse shitting you. Of course looks matter, like it's the first thing that people see. But my only problem with the black pill is they neglect, for me, something equally important, which is your character as a man. It's your character that glues everything together. If you don't have a strong character as a man, but you look good, it's like having a Lamborghini but not being able to drive it. You need that character as a man in order to go through life. So what does the black pill mean to you? For anybody who might be listening to this and thinks like, I don't even know what the fuck the black pill is. Like, what does the black pill actually mean to you?
hmm I'd say in essence, the black pill is that attraction is Darwinian,
Mhm.
and that we're selecting for kind of the best genetic markers to pass on our genes.
Mhm.
And you can kind of break that down specifically on things like women think men that have got wide shoulders, that's is very sexually dimorphic, a very nice jawline. I think that's something that's quite nice. And a genetic factor that you're probably very strong, very masculine and stuff like that. Something like as simple as having a clear skin. I mean, I doubt any girl wants to date a guy with like severe acne. It's is a genetic sign of kind of illness. Stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I would also talk about genetic factors regarding mentally. So, not a lot of black girls talk about it, for example, which can affect kind of your personality and your character. So girls will also screen for that, kind of your personality and character, to make sure that you're neurotypical, i.e., you're basically kind of you're a normie person that kind of has social awareness. You're not awkward, socially awkward. That is also, in my opinion, a genetic factor, and that people can kind of suss out whether you're kind of socially awkward. I think everyone's kind of knew that person in school or in uni that just the way they talk, the way they act is just a bit off. You're like, has this guy got, Asperger's or autism? He's not really socially aware, stuff like that can, in my opinion, it's genetic and can really affect you. So yeah, that's a bit as in essence. What I don't believe the black pill is laying down and rotting, just kind of when you take the black pill, you instantly just die and you
Mhm.
shouldn't do anything. I think that depends on who actually takes it. Obviously, there's two types of men: one who takes a black pill and takes action and actually says, "Huh, okay, that's fine. What can I do to improve it, and what's within my kind of power to kind of change it?" And you've got the other kind of person or men who kind of take a black pill and just says, "Oh, it's over. There's no point in trying." Those are your typical kind of incels who kind of say, "Oh, there's no point. Oh, I'm a bit short. Oh, I'm a bit pudgy. It's over."
Mm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I love listening to you talk about this, because I think it's just such an interesting thing that we've got going on here, because you're someone who has obviously taken the black pill, but
Mm.
you've not allowed your life to become this defeatist thing. You've seen it's like you've stripped back the curtain, you've seen your reality for what it is, and you've decided to say to yourself, you know what, this is what I'm working with. How can I use the tools I've been given to the best of my ability and create an empire which I'm proud of? Because I think that's the key for any man. It's simply to take what you've been given, to take the cards that you've been dealt and play them to the best of your ability. Yeah, some guys do just have it easier than others. No one's debating that. Some guys do just win the genetic lottery at birth. Some guys just get dealt the straight flush. But say you get dealt a pair of fives, rather than looking at the guy next to you who's got the straight flush and being like, oh, that guy's got it so easy. Focus on the hand you've been given, play the cards you've been dealt to the best of your ability, and you'll probably have a better time and be more successful in the game in the long term, because you've had to struggle in order to succeed. And I've made the point in previous pieces of content that, in my opinion, men need to starve in order to succeed. The guy who, say you're like a rich kid who was born into a rich family, you've never known what it means to actually struggle. You've never had that before and after rags to riches story. It's a little bit like Tony Montana in Scarface. Like Al Pacino was like 5'6". He wasn't a typical good-looking guy, but he had the masculine traits in that film Scarface, especially like the charisma, the character, the bravado, the I can do anything type of mindset that took him to the top. And I think, you know, these days, I think men just have it far too easy. We don't need to struggle for anything anymore. It's why I plug cold approach so much. It's like, I view cold approach as a rite of passage for men. It's like you go into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, you return a man. That's how you build your character. The quickest way, in my opinion, is putting yourself through the social fire. So there would have been a point in your life where you'd have thought to yourself, I could never do this. I could never go over to a woman during the day and approach her and have a conversation. Yeah. Over the weekend, you did it multiple times. You got an instant date on the first day. And can you just tell us a little bit about how your mentality has shifted since doing the boot camp?
I'll be honest, I don't think it has changed that much. I think before the boot camp, my kind of belief on kind of day game was that, and I still do believe that a good chunk of the interaction is to do with your physical appearance. So most of the interaction, given that the girl is sexually available and she's single, you know, if she's got a husband, you know, even if you're a model, you know, a typical Chad model, she's not going to cheat on a guy that she just, you know, met in the street, right? It's like 99.99% sure it's not going to happen, right? So given that the girl is single, and how she will decide a personality and the way you approach, I'm not saying it's like 0%, you know, of the interaction. Of course, it plays a decent amount, but in my opinion, the majority of the interaction is to do with your physical appearance. And within the first 5 seconds, she'll already figure out whether you're physically attractive enough to even take her on a date. Now, after you've passed the kind of looks threshold, which is, in my opinion, the most difficult part, you're kind of given some leeway on kind of the rest of the interaction and how you communicate. Now, if you do pass the look threshold and you kind of fuck up the interaction, like let's say you're talk in a really feminine voice or something like that, like, oh my God, I think your dress is so cute, you know, it's shit like that, right? She's going to get turned off. I agree with that. But if we were to put it in numbers, I would say, you know, 70% of the interaction, 78% is your looks, and the rest, the 20% is kind of the rest of the interaction. So that's what I kind of believe in. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it does to an extent. So what I would be curious then, because at one point in your life, I assume you wouldn't have had the confidence to actually approach a girl in the first place anyway. So what did you do to yourself to get to a place where you felt, yeah, I'm now in a better position in regards to the way that you look, that you could actually approach girls?
I guess so. In the abstract sense, just talking in general, you need to have a product that's worth marketing, right? And that product is yourself, right? Now, if we were going to rewind a few years ago, physically, I just didn't think I was attractive enough to even approach girls, and that had a knock-on effect in my confidence. Now, confidence, i.e., inner game, what really helped me improve that was working on the external, for me anyway. So what did that mean? If we introduce the concept of looksmaxxing, I think everyone's kind of heard of that. It's basically maximizing your looks. So we can talk about looksmaxxing for like literally 5 hours, but to keep it brief, I can kind of talk about kind of the biggest ROI kind of looksmaxxing things. So I think we will all know about the gym, right? I think Kristian will talk about that. I think everyone kind of knows, Hamza, the red pill guys, gym, get a lean face. I think everyone knows that. Where the majority of red pills like Hamza, First Man, stuff like that, they kind of miss a lot of other useful looksmaxxing stuff. So let's be more specific. I think the face is extremely important. In fact, the most important in terms of your physical looks. So in terms of black pill, they believe that the face is more important, then your height, and then your body. So obviously they're all important, but if you had to rank them, that's why I would rank them. So if we were talking about ROI, I'd say improving the faces is the most important. And the gym does play a part in that, because if you lose weight, you lose fat, your face gets leaner. Obviously, it shows the kind of the bone structure better, right? Other looksmaxxing stuff that I'd done for my face was grew out my hair. So I think, Kristian, you saw a few photos of me before I grew out my hair, and I think your reaction was kind of like, wow, what a difference.
I was honestly like so shocked that you were actually the same person.
Yeah.
I was like, you've gone from that to where you're at now. And I just think like fair fucking play to you, honestly. Because like you literally, like you say, you looked at the product that you had and you're like, I want to improve this product. And then you went and fucking did it. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. But the hair grew out to kind of more stylish instead of a very cheap buzz cut #1 all over, which just in hindsight it looked absolutely horrible, honestly.
Yeah, you looked like a convict.
I did.
I
cannot believe I done that.
The sort of guy who comes up to you is like, oh, give a $5 or I'll stab you.
Honestly, I can't believe I done that. But yeah, hair, right? Second thing I did for the face was my skincare. So I think you saw a few images again where I had kind of acne along the jawline, kind of spots all over, and it looked horrible, right? So luckily I got on a really good skincare routine. And even if you're listening to this and you have good skin, you need to maintain that, right? You're not going to have the same skin quality now if you're in your 20s or whatever that you will have in your 40s or 30s, right? So you want to keep on top of that. To keep it brief, you want a good sunscreen. You want to get on something called a retinoid. So have you heard of tretinoin? It kind of keeps your skin very youthful and stuff like that.
No, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long topic, but if you just type in retinoids, it basically keeps your skin very youthful. It's something called collagen, which all of us have, but it's something that decreases over time, and it makes you look older than you already are, or maybe you feel inside. And yeah, you got other stuff like vitamin C serums, moisturizers, a bunch of medications to fix, kind of acne and other skin diseases. I mean, I even told you, Christian, like, what your skincare routine is like. And you're like, I don't have any. I was like, you need to wear sunscreen. You're like, I'm not going to wear it, but thanks anyway. which is completely your choice, completely your choice. But I had to say it. I had to say it.
Yeah. You'll be happy to know I've actually started putting sunscreen on now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
I actually came back home after our weekend together. It was like a week later or something, and I was like, Christian, drop your ego and stop being a little prick about it. Like you're not even really tried this. You're just dismissing it because you're lazy, essentially. Because my mindset was being lazy. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it because it'll take like literally 2 seconds of my time to put, and my face is going to be greasy. But I've actually started putting sunscreen on. I've actually started using a skincare product from a company called Face Theory. Don't know if you've heard of them before.
I have heard of them.
But they've got like this thing. It's called like, I think it's like glycolic acid or something. But I recommend to you guys, go on Face Theory. You can get like a good deal where you can get like 2 of these things for like 20 pounds or something. But like it gives your face a little bit of a burn, but it just gets rid of all of like the shit that's on your face. And honestly, since I've been doing that, I feel loads better about myself. So
really,
that's
awesome.
That's a really good example of even like me being like, yo, I need to, even though you were my client, it's like, well, fuck it. Like this guy's got knowledge I don't have. So I'm actually going to listen and implement it and just see. And I can attest to the fact that I feel loads better for actually starting a skin care routine. So thank you. Also, cold showers as well, I find really help my skin. Because I've been having cold showers for a long time. I find for whatever reason, it gives your face quite a youthful look. So another reason to have cold showers. But yeah, I thought I'd let you know about that because it's actually helped me. So thanks.
No, great. It's awesome. I'd say skincare is a really deep topic. You can really spend hours and hours and hours, and even now I'm still learning new stuff, even though I've learned about it for like a year or two. It's a really, in my opinion, a really interesting topic. I'm a very kind of scientific guy, and I love learning about the kind of the biology of the skin. But
so we've covered like really good areas there. So going to the gym, getting a skincare routine, taking care of a decent haircut. I think that is quality. So just to kind of a little topically, because what I found really interesting was, what I really liked actually was when I said to you, like, how's your mindset changed since the boot camp? You said, well, it's not really changed that much, which I really like. Like, I feel intrigued by that, because it's like, can you be more specific, just for my understanding, why that actually was? Because is it a case for you that you kind of already knew how things would go because you've got the look side of things sorted? Is that what you were meaning?
Yeah, I would say that. Like, I knew beforehand that I did have a product, my look would have kind of the result. But you obviously have that kind of inkling about I've never done this before. I still don't know what's going to happen. So it kind of, after the bootcamp, it kind of reconfirmed what I believed in, but it solidified it.
I remember, sorry to interrupt, I remember very interesting. You asked me, I think you asked me a question. You remember your before and after photos? And I think you asked me the question, like, would essentially, would this guy, would he be suitable for doing cold approach? And I said to you, no. Like, the way you used to look, there's no cat in hell's chance. Like, if you'd have got on the phone to me and I saw that as your WhatsApp photo, I would have just been real with you straight off the bat. And I said, listen, where you're at in your life right now, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, because in my opinion, day game, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's for a group of guys who understand that there's more to this than lines and techniques. In order to do this, you have to have built your value. Day game is simply a means to deliver your value. And if you haven't taken care to take care in other areas, then you're wasting your time thinking that pickup is going to solve all your problems, which is why I don't work with every guy, because not every guy is in the position in their life at the moment where this is going to be conducive. Do
Yeah.
what you've done. Take time to focus on the other side of things first. Maximize your appearance, your mentality, your aesthetics, the way you feel about yourself, and you're going to have a better weekend with me or any other one that you work with. And yeah, I just found that really interesting that, yeah, 100% looks play a part, but it's within your power to change the way you look. Is there any other ways that you've been able to maximize your appearance out of curiosity?
So I guess the main thing is I've also done, so the black pill kind of advocates surgery. So this is quite a complex topic to talk about because it's, first off, it's extremely expensive, right? You need to have kind of the financial means to even get it. In addition, you also need the financial knowledge. Now, I want to make some caveats regarding kind of plastic cosmetic surgery. It's something that can fuck you up if you do it wrongly. So before I even talk about it, you need to do your research on it. You need to be very careful, and you need to pick the correct facial flaws that you see in yourself to fix. Luckily for myself, I was knowledgeable enough to kind of pick the correct people to kind of fix various stuff in my face. And I also had the financial means to also do it. So if you're working in McDonald's and you don't have any money in your name, do not go to some cheap surgeon, go to Turkey or something like that to get fucked up, just because it's cheaper. But yeah, I mean, surgery was, in my opinion, extremely, extremely good in terms of ROI. So to be more specific, I got something called a nose job, or the kind of technical term is a rhinoplasty. So for me personally, that as well as some other stuff, really improved my looks. And yeah, I would say surgery was a big one.
Yeah, and I remember you saying to me on the phone, because you brought it up quite early, which I respected. You shared quite a lot with me during our pre-boot camp consultation call, so I could get to know you better. And I remember you asking me my thoughts on men getting surgery or you getting surgery or whatever. And I thought about it for a little while, but it's like I said before, I think every man should do everything that's in his power to look and feel as good as he can look. Like, we've only got one opportunity in this life. We've only got one chance at this. So if you've got the money to facilitate, then why not do it? If it's going to make you feel better about yourself. But what I'm curious about as well was, would you consider yourself, like where you started, would you consider yourself a extreme example?
What would you say extreme example?
Well, because in the black pill community, you're probably aware of this. You've always got the, what if you're a 5'2" Indian janitor? Like, where you were at, did you at any point think it's over for me?
Good question. I did have those thoughts, being completely honest. From where I was at, literally, I was, if you coin the term subhuman, really, I was sub 5. I really didn't think I was attractive enough at all. Now, whether I thought I would just lay down and rot, it came into the thought, but I didn't really accept that. I was always a doer. In other aspects of my life, for example, university, I've got a really good job now. I'm a really hard worker. I'm maybe not the smartest in the room, but when I put my mind to something, I execute it with absolute precision. And when I realized like how badly I looked, and when I learned about black pill, it really did light a fire up my ass and said, like, what are you doing? You need to change right fucking now. And over the past year or two, up until the boot camp, I completely changed my look. And I mean, it's 2021 kind of sucked for me. I was just kind of staying inside, looksmaxxing, kind of basically recovering from surgeries. And 2022, it has been the complete fucking opposite. Honestly, my life has completely changed. And Kristian has played, you have played a huge part in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I've said to you before, I really respect the fact that you've spent time in the black pill community, that you've not been consumed by it. I say with all these different pills, like spit, don't swallow. You don't have to take the whole pill down. You can put it on your tongue, just let it sit there for a little bit. You can take a little bit from each. But I think for you, you are the perfect example for any black pillar who's listening to this, that it doesn't have to be game over just because you've not won the genetic lottery. And I think what's very interesting as well, something that the thought that I had the other day was, even your best may not be enough for some women. Like, even your best may not be enough for some women out there. And do you know what? That's okay, because just because you can't get some doesn't mean you won't get any. And the more you skyrocket your value as a man, those women that were once unavailable will now become available. And I think people don't really have that mentality. They think, oh, my value is static. What I am now is all I'll ever be. That's the progression bias, I think it's called. Like, what you want now is what you'll always want. But the reality of it is just because you start a certain way doesn't mean you can't climb the ladder. But accepting as well, I have to do this for myself. Like, there are some women who unfortunately won't be available to me. Like, I very much doubt in my life I'm going to be dating Scarlett Johansson. I very much doubt that. But that's fine. I can live with that. I think that's just something that men need to accept. Because I think men are always like, oh, I need to get the 10 out of 10. I can only be like sleeping with 10s and stuff. Yeah, but you're not in a position in your life where that's realistic right now. Maybe at one point it will be, but mixing that reality, that realism with reinvention, and just kind of being able to just be okay with the fact that not every woman is going to be into you. Like, that's just something I think every man needs to accept. Like, not every woman is going to be into you, but there's a lot of stuff you can do as a man to skyrocket your value in this game. Just looking at the timer, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this interview and then we'll start a new one because I don't want to miss out on any value. All right,
cool.
So we're back for the second half. Hopefully you managed to get yourself some refreshments and stuff. Right, I want to tackle this next bit, which is the classic, the 5'2" Indian janitor. Because guys always like to focus on the extreme examples. Like, what if you're the 5'2" Indian janitor? What should you do if you are this guy? So I just think it's an interesting thing. So I hear sometimes like this gets brought up in black pill debates, and guys who are not on like the black pill side will like try and defend it, but I always think the answers are quite weak. So let's just have an open discussion to try and inspire guys. And I think before we do, this needs to be understood that this is the extreme example. And I doubt very many guys, if any, who are listening to this fall into this category. So essentially what we're saying is, if we can find solutions for this guy, then you'll be fine. All right, so go on. What do you think about this?
Oh boy. I think I'll say now, right? I agree to an extent with the black pillars that in general, it is kind of over, right? Yes and no. It's very easy if you are that extreme example to just give up and just don't try, right? And it might reflect their life experiences about being rejected by women who probably, given their baseline and where they are right now, the 5'2" Indian janitor, they're probably not going to get a normal woman, right? Now, he can just lay down and rot, or he can be realistic and try and change everything that he can. So let's just say, right, in reality, in a parallel universe, I was this guy. What would I do? First, I would get more money. I would money max, right? Get out of that janitor job and get a high-paying job, medicine, lawyer, whatever, engineer, whatever, just something that's going to earn you more money, right? Because that will kind of improve other aspects of your life, right? Getting more money, getting into a kind of financial stable situation. Now, I'm not saying just to get money to just beta bucks. Now, that is a strategy. Now, obviously, it's not the best strategy to just throw money at women.
You just define that concept for anyone who doesn't know.
Right. So beta bucksing is basically using your resources, your money, to try and build attraction with a woman. Mm-hmm. Now, the black pill will obviously not agree with this because attraction is Darwinian, right? It's to do with your genetic factors. Just covering it with money is a very temporary situation, and she'll be just waiting to jump to the next guy who is more physically attractive, right? That's what I term as beta bucksing. Okay. Now, to go back to the example, being realistic, I think, yeah, he needs to be realistic in that he's given where he's at now, he's not going to get the majority of women. He needs, the crux of the matter is that he needs to Looksmaxx extremely hard. Let's say that he was a rich guy, right? He had all the money in the world. He could do Looksmaxx and he could find the best trainers and best whatever. I would first go to the gym, get a PT, fix my diet, get as jacked as humanly possible. Mm-hmm. I would then analyze my face and my body and basically get surgery and just completely go out the wazoo and get everything. I would honestly get leg lengthening surgery if I was this guy. Now, I'm not saying that leg lengthening is like a simple procedure. It's fucking not. It's one of the most extreme surgeries you can ever fucking do. But we're talking about the absolute extreme example. And if I was that example, that I would literally do that. I'm actually not kidding. I would do that. I would then get surgery on my face to improve kind of any facial flaws to make it more attractive. Now, we could go hours and hours on that, but just to keep it brief, you know, things like double jaw surgery, you know, rhinoplasty because he's Indian, you know, kind of genetic kind of Indian noses are kind of maybe not too attractive. So getting a rhinoplasty would fix that, and a bunch of other surgeries. Maybe if he's balding, you know, maybe a hair transplant, maybe hop on a hair loss medication like finasteride to kind of save his hair, skincare, if he's got any acne, stuff like that. Now, if he's completely surgery maxed, money maxed, gym maxed, lean maxed, Looksmaxx, skin maxed, everything, then he's probably at a stage where he can get something, in my opinion. Now, is it going to be the 10 out of 10 Victoria's Secret model? No, it's not going to be like that. But it's going to be something. And yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to be the most physically attractive girl. I will agree with that. But, you know, it'll be much better. It'll be tenfold better than where he was at the very start, where he was, you know, the balding 5'2".
I think that's one of the best answers I've heard to that question. I think that is just hyper practical. The only thing that I would add to that actually is I would say to that guy to document the whole thing, to document the whole thing, to create a YouTube channel out of it, and therefore the extreme example becomes the shining figure for all other 5'2" Indian janitors, for all other like extreme cases. Like, imagine that guy's position in society where he's literally like a transformational coach in essence for all the people who thought it was over for them. So I think everything that you said, and then document the journey, put it out for the masses so everyone can see, and have it be like if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I think that would be super beneficial for all the other extreme cases out there.
One thing I want to say, right, is if I was that extreme example, right, and I was bullied a lot for my looks, you know, I had really so low self-esteem due to being rejected by women. one thing I would say is even after all the surgery and even after all the Looksmaxxing stuff, right? You also need to be wary of what's inside you, because externally, especially for me, even after I've Looksmaxxed, right? Internally, you still have that trauma of being bullied, right? Being rejected by women, right? You could be called a Chad by 99 women, right? But if that one woman calls you subhuman or ugly, you're going to remember that one woman who said that, right? So it's not all peaches and roses after you Looksmaxxed. A lot of people on certain online forums who do Looksmaxx, their mental health is not good. Mentally, they're still acting and believing like they're the ugly one before all the Looksmaxxing stuff. So yeah, that's one thing I want to be kind of saying, tell people about. It's not all, once you Looksmaxx, it's like the red carpet rolls out for you, right? You still got to take action and go outside, have developed a personality and a character to actually get women. Now, it will be easier because you're physically more attractive. But if you're talking about maybe a long-term relationship where you have like a wife and children, you need to do more kind of internally.
Yeah, I think the concept that guys would know this as is inner game, essentially. Because like you say, you could be transformed from the outside, but inside you still feel like the ugly duckling. You still feel like the lost little boy that got bullied in school. And then it is a case there, because I think this is where a lot of the Blackpool guys maybe get a little bit warped in their mindset, thinking once I've got my look sorted, then everything else falls into place. But like I was saying before, your character is what glues it all together. And without having that bulletproof character, then you are going to almost have that imposter syndrome still sitting beneath you. And if you do receive negativity, like you say, it may be difficult for you to brush that off if you've not developed your character. Do you have any ways, just out of curiosity, that guys can actually improve their inner game, like developing their character?
That's a good question. I'd say, coming out from a black pill perspective, a part of that is genetic, being neurotypical and not having kind of atypical neurological disorders and thoughts. But for the majority or the general kind of population that are kind of watching this video, you're probably, a normal person, right? You're just a bit socially awkward, but is not something that cannot be fixed, right? Now, if you are that kind of normie person, for me, which I class myself as kind of a normie, kind of neurotypical person, the improving the external kind of had a positive feedback loop in improving the inner game. Now, for example, after I've Looksmaxxed, you kind of get more positive reaction from girls. So they say, "Oh, like you're very attractive, or you're very cute." It kind of it boosts your confidence, right? It's
of course.
It pushes the ego, bumps the ego.
Yeah.
So something like that definitely helped my confidence. Other than that, like, it's very personal to each man's journey on how they kind of improve their inner game. My inner game journey is going to be much different from another man's or your kind of inner game journey, Kristian. So I'm not confident in giving kind of general advice, because it's just it's a really complex kind of thing, and you've kind of got to kind of, so for example, maybe if you've got trauma from your childhood, so taking extreme examples, you got bullied, maybe you were essayed or something as a minor, something really traumatizing. Getting kind of psychological help to kind of fix that issue, stuff like that. Luckily it didn't happen to me, but I did get bullied. And I'll be honest, it still affects me to this day. Being bullied in school, it does still affect me to this day. Now, it's not as bad as it was, during university days. But it is still there, and honestly, it'll be part of me for the rest of my life. I don't think I will be 100% removed, but it's something that I kind of accept, and I'm still trying to kind of move on from it, and I think I've done quite a good job for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's almost like transmuting trauma into strength. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like for me, for example, like growing up in the Lake District, I was very socially awkward. I really didn't like being around people. I would break out into these like sweating fits when like the teacher put me on the spot in school. I didn't have any romantic options, like like in your teenage. I just didn't have like what I would consider like a regular type of life, and I've often always been grateful for that in a sense because it stopped me from ever becoming lethargic. Because all of the good looking popular kids that went to my school, I look at them now and they are podgy. They've got a house, either in long term relationships or married. They've essentially cashed out early because they almost had their success period prematurely. So I've always enjoyed the fact that I've seen myself more as a late bloomer. Like I've gone through that struggle period. Like I said before, men need to start to succeed. I was in such a place of scarcity that I was like, I'm going to turn this pain into power. It's almost like this revenge mindset where it's like, do you know what? I'm going to show the fucking world how great I can be because I was ignored. Like I was just so irrelevant growing up, like as a child, like you want attention, I was an only child. I wanted attention, but I didn't get that from my peers, from girls. So now for me, that's always been my fuel. It's always been a case of, well, I'm just gonna go and show the fucking world. Like I'm gonna show the world what I always believed I could be. So yeah, I think obviously, like you say, it's a very individual pursuit. We're all on our own journey. But I think anything in life, you can decide how it's going to affect you. You can decide the next practical step forward for yourself. And like to use you as an example, you're in a place, you're in like the pits of hell, and now you found like your paradise on earth where you're actively striving to be better than you were yesterday. And yeah, I just think more guys should follow your example of taking where you started and realizing the way you start isn't the way you finish. So yeah, that's really cool. I wanted to just talk a little bit just about Instagram because this is something that you got into recently. Started building up a profile which you wouldn't have probably done like a little while ago. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Instagram, in my kind of opinion, is extremely important. And it's something that I regret not making earlier and kind of Instagram maxing earlier. In my opinion, a good Instagram profile basically shows your value as a man. This can be physical. So, for example, my Instagram profile has a lot of very professional photos of me. It's not like lazy Instagramming of like going to Italy or something like that, or like a picture of Big Ben or something like that, right? It's a picture of my face, right? And the thing I'm trying to project to other people who view my Instagram profile is like, look at me as a product, look at my face as a product. It's pretty good. Please follow me. Basically, that's essentially what I'm doing, right? Is I'm marketing me as a product on Instagram, and I think is extremely helpful for dating because you can have stories and highlights of you going to the gym. You can show not only just your physical looks, but your lifestyle. So, you go on holiday in Bali, you went to London for a couple of days, you went to France or Paris, for a week. It really shows that you're a complete package. You're not just a good looking guy, you're also a good looking person with a good lifestyle. And yeah, I think it's extremely important.
Yeah, I know our weekend together, we really plugged the Instagram side of things, didn't we? Like we would go into
Oh
different
yeah,
locations and I was
yeah.
getting photos of you. And this is something
Hmm.
that I'm incorporating more. So for guys who are not aware, I'm going to be jetting off
Yep.
to different European locations. They're called Renaissance retreats, essentially. Because essentially I've always viewed this as a multifaceted package. I've
Mm.
always seen myself as separate to day game or pickup. I can't be asked with day game pickup. I don't give a shit about any of that. What I care about is inspiring men to live multifaceted existences. I think every man should have the balls to be able to go and have a conversation with women they find attractive. But it's a case of learning the skill set, but not getting consumed by the skill set. And over our weekend, it was really cool to see how all that played out, where we were talking to girls and then we were finding great places to get photos. Because I said to you, well, listen, if you meet these girls and then you get their Instagrams and then we're getting photos around the city, then they can then start chasing you. They see that you're up to all these different things. They start to respond to your stories. And it was really cool to just see you upgrading your profile on Instagram. The best advice I can give to any guy who's watching this, if you're not on Instagram, get on Instagram. Because Instagram, if you're doing cold approach and combining that with Instagram and maximizing your lifestyle in all the different areas and documenting that, like making evidence of it. Because if there's no evidence, did it really happen? So make people aware of what you're up to, because the profile will do the work for you. The silence will do the work. She goes onto your landing page, which essentially that's what Instagram is. She goes onto your landing page and she sees your profile plastered with all these pictures of all these things you've been getting up to. And even if your conversation that you had was a little bit lackluster, she looks at your profile and she's like, this guy's fucking cool. I wanna know more about him. So for you, I assume Instagram is something that you're going to be incorporating more into your life in the future as well.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, throughout the 3 day boot camp, I'm pretty sure we took close to 1,000 photos.
I don't mess about.
Just
I
you,
do not mess
you
about. You have
completely
your
spamming.
personal photographer for the day, and I will. I enjoy getting those good shots,
Hmm.
as you know. Like we were just
Hmm.
getting people to move out the way, getting the good lights. And I was like, no, I'm not happy with that one. Like do this pose instead. Like we do it all together, and I think that's what it should be. It's that
Yep.
multifaceted immersion experience. It's like
Yeah.
I get how the future's going. You can't just be the pickup artist who's not on any social media platform and has just got like an anonymous WhatsApp photo and has just got
Mhm.
no social life. And he's just like, I'm a PUA. No, you're a fucking loser. You're a moron who's got no value. So yeah, anyway, you were saying about Instagram and how we use it over the weekend.
Yeah, we went to a bunch of locations. I think we had a plan. We brung out my whole wardrobe, and we basically styled me to have this Ralph Lauren shirt, have this shorts, have this trouser, have this turtleneck on, do this hair this way, and we went out in the day. Brung a few clothes in the backpack, and yeah, we took so many photos, and it was amazing.
Yeah, we were because we were going to the gym together as well, weren't we? We were going to the
Yeah,
gym.
we were.
We were training together. We were
Yep.
talking to girls. We were getting the Instagram. But what I found what was actually quite interesting, when you do all these things, you get life momentum. Like when you're getting your photos taken, you go to the gym, you speak to a few girls, you just get this momentum in your life where you just feel like the celebrity of your reality. Where it's like, yeah, I'm getting my photos taken, girls are looking at you. It's like, is this guy some sort of
Mm.
celebrity? Then you train at the gym, and we were like documenting us being at the gym. It just makes your lifestyle more seductive, more dynamic. You feel excited about being yourself. It's not a case of like, oh, I wish I was like that guy on TV. Like, fuck being on TV. We've all got our own personal brands right now, and there's no excuse why you can't be maximizing that. Get on Instagram, start documenting your lifestyle, and I guarantee your results in the whole sexual marketplace will start to skyrocket. Because what Instagram also gives you is accountability. Once you start documenting your life and putting it for the world to see, you want to look your best. Like when I'm making videos on YouTube or documenting my training sessions on my Instagram profile, like I'm going there with more motivation. I'm making videos with more motivation. And like the world is seeing me right now. So I want to look my best. I want to feel my best. So I think Instagram can provide guys with that much needed accountability, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
Okay, for the final little part of this, I don't think it would be a proper Black Pill debate if we didn't at least address the man, the myth, the legend of Wheat Waffles.
Oh,
I think it'd be cool just to have a little open discussion. Now, I've not watched like a crazy amount of the guy's videos. I've
mm,
listened to a few interviews that he's done. I have a general gist of his channel and what he's about. Now, obviously, you'll be more informed about this guy than I am. But the thing I will say to just kickstart off, the thing that I actually really like about the guy is he's really, really good at debating. Like I really like the guy in conversation. Like I think he can really hold his own. Like, I would call that frame control. I think he's very good at talking. I think he's very good at putting points across and putting people on the spot. I don't know if he's been to like debate in society when he's at uni, but if he isn't, he should be in it. I think I would love to do an interview with him. Actually, I think we'd have a good discussion. Not like a I know better than you or you know better than me. I would just love to have an open-ended conversation about our philosophies on life. And I would actually love him to do a boot camp with me as well. So listen, if you're watching this, then get in contact with me and we can make something happen because yeah, I'm open for it. But anyway, that's just me. What do you think about the guy?
um, I mean, honestly, I don't have any opinions. I don't have any bad opinions of him.
Hmm.
Is his content good? Yes. I think he does make a lot of good points. Some of his beginning videos that he's made, specifically on kind of the Looksmaxxing stuff, he had a series of videos where he was analyzing a perfect male face, you know, jawline, eyes, stuff like that. I found really good. Now, I'd say lately his videos, I don't know. I think he's going around the topic that's, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. I just don't think it's too relevant. I think it may get to the point where if you keep on watching Wheat Waffles, you may get a bit depressed. If you're just being introduced to the black pill and the Wheat Waffles as your introduction, and you keep on watching his videos and you watch all his videos, it may kind of depress you at some point. I think, in my opinion, with the black pill, you've just got to take the reality of it, Looksmaxx, and then just kind of jump ship. If you marinate in the black pill, it's like staring into the void. You know, the void will eventually stare back at you. So you've really got to kind of be careful, like not to kind of swallow the black pill too much and kind of let it kind of grow inside you. I think that's one negative for me, having taken a black pill, is like watching all this kind of black pill content, you know, Wheat Waffles and other kind of content creators, reading up on all this theory. It does affect you in real life. So, for example, in real life, I just do it instinctively now. Like I kind of analyze people's faces. Like it's fucking weird, you know. Like I mean, who does that, right? But I mean, I do it now. Like I look at faces and I can literally tell. Oh, this guy has a recessed jaw. This girl has a recessed jaw. Oh, this girl's got really forward grown jaw. You know, is really attractive. So if you get to that point, like me, you probably should stop listening to the black pill and just kind of lay down the computer, you know, shut off the computer for a little while, just kind of do your own thing, Looksmaxx, and kind of take action in life rather than just kind of spending all day in your computer just watching all Wheat Waffles contents and just kind of marinating in it. It's just, I just don't think it's good eventually. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your questions, but yeah, that's my general thoughts.
Yeah, no, it does. I agree. I think any philosophy, if you overindulge in it, it can be quite destructive. I think we need balance in life. I think it's good to have different areas, different things that we learn from. But I think what's missing as well in the modern world is critical, independent thinkers. I think it's very easy to just receive information from, say, like a guru or someone who's got higher value than yourself, and you take it as the gospel rather than actually going out into the field, as it were, to actually experiment. Because yeah, people describe the sexual marketplace as being cutthroat, but it's really, in my opinion, not as nihilistic as people make out. Like, as long as you're doing everything that you can to become the greatest version of yourself possible, and you can reject anything from your reality that doesn't resonate with you, you can take some of the pills, but you don't have to ingest them fully, then you're going to be able to live a life free from bullshit and make decisions based on what makes sense to you rather than what makes sense to the masses. So yeah, do you have any like sort of closing thoughts before we say au revoir? Maybe 20 guys who are in the black pill at the moment, they feel quite hopeless. Like, any sort of more practical advice to finish on for those guys who maybe are in the position that you were in not so long ago?
Let me split it up. So let's say I'll split it up into kind of several categories. So let's say you're a really ugly guy right now and you're watching this. You're like, facially, I'm not good. You need to Looksmaxx to a point where you do not need to be a Chad. I'm not a Chad. In my opinion, I don't think Kristian is Chad. Being honest, right? And that's fine, right? You do not need to be a male model, but you do need to be at a level where you pass the looks threshold for a girl or a majority of girls. In specific terms, you need to be like a high tier normie, right? So you need to be gym maxed, you need to be lean maxed, skin maxed, and have a few really good features in your face. Now, if you're a black pill guy, I'd say be careful, kind of take the main points of it that, looks do really matter in this world, and just leave it at that. You do not need to know all the theory. And I'll be honest, I'm not a black pill expert, right? I don't know all the theory shit. Like, I don't know everything. There's some stuff that I just don't know about. And to be frank, I don't really care, right? All I care about and all I have taken from the black pill is the Looksmaxxing stuff to improve my life. I'm a black pillar Looksmaxxer, Everything Looksmaxxing I know about. And that's what you should take from it. You don't need to know about all these statistics about Tinder and stuff like that. Like, it can really bog you down. And that's one thing I regret is like learning all this theory shit that just really didn't have any impact in my life. So I say for black pill guys, just learn what you can, take action, and just shut off the computer. Right? It's no bother. But yeah.
Just to jump in on that point, I think that's so key. Like, you don't need to be a Chad in order to win the game, right? You don't need to be Chad in order to win. And I think this is a mindset. It's like, well, if I'm not a Chad, I ain't going to do anything. It's like, what are you talking about? Like we said before, yeah, there are some girls that are probably always going to be out of your reach. Well, who gives a fuck? There's plenty that are in your reach. There's plenty more that will become available as you develop yourself as a guy. So yeah, for me, it's a case of it with the black pill. It's like, well, if I'm not Chad, then I'm losing. Then, well, no, it's not. That's not the case. I hope guys certainly use me as an example. Like, see what I'm doing, see the lifestyle that I'm creating for myself. Like, I've made my own video, like the sort of how I built my SMB. I used to look like a fucking turnip, and just very practical, simple tweaks that I did to amplify what I'd been given, to accentuate the assets that I'd been afforded. So yeah, I hope guys get inspired by this content, by my journey so far, and they're like, you know what, mate, I'm actually not that bad. And with time, with hard work, with effort, I could be more than I ever thought I was capable of being. Was there any other points you wanted to make?
No, not really. I mean, I think we've covered a lot of it.
Final question.
Right.
What would you say to former version of Michael? Like, if you were having a conversation with your former self, that guy who I saw in that photograph who looks like a fucking convict, what would you say now, being where you're at? If you could have a 1-minute conversation with your former self, what would you say to that person?
Wow. Great question. I would say don't give up. honestly, I would say, Michael, man, just don't give up, man. Like you've improved so much. Like it's so easy for you to just kind of lay down and just kind of, be comfortable with being lazy, playing games all day. You know what I mean? Don't, right? Like you can really improve your life. You just need to work 10 times harder than other people. But once you get there, like it's unreal. Like a new kind of reality will be unlocked for you. And yeah, like
And
don't give up.
what you would be giving him there was hope. And I think
Yeah,
that's
I would give him hope.
what we all need in
I
this
would give him
life.
hope.
Because a man without hope is dead. It's better to be depressed. It's better to be anxious and hopeless. Because once you feel hopeless, where you don't feel like there's anything you can actually do to save yourself, that's when shit starts to get rough. So I hope what this video has provided to guys is hope that no matter where you're at in your life right now, there are things you could actively do, but it is all on you. Like no one's coming to save you. We can talk for hours about this shit, but until you make the decision to change your life, to stop being a pussy, to stop being a defeatist, start being a realist, and then start being a proactivist, start doing shit on a daily basis. Have an image of in your mind of who is the man you want to be? What does he look like? What does he talk like? What sort of women is he dating? Where is he going to travel? How much money has he got in the bank? I think when you have that clear idea of who you are and where you want to go, you no longer feel hopeless. You feel like, you know what, I can actually do things in this life. So yeah, gentlemen, for anyone who is listening to this, hope this video has inspired you. Thank you to you, Michael. Like it was incredible 3 days together. And as far as I'm concerned, like we're friends for life now. Like whenever you need anything, or if you just want to like do whatever, like we can just do that. So yeah, just from me to you, as a friend who has witnessed your transformation over 3 days, but also got to have a better idea of who you are and where you're at now. Like I wish you nothing but the greatest success for the future, and I hope you keep going from strength to strength in everything that you do.
Appreciate it, Kristian.
You're welcome. Right, nice one. I'll speak to you soon.
See ya.